Hi, it's Alex, and this concept is something I've been seeing all over my YouTube homepage recently, so I thought I should try it too. So this is the ClanGen art challenge. I don't know exactly what it's called, but basically you play a clan of warrior cats in this game called ClanGen, and every year you draw the cats in your clan. This video is inspired by Nyoko's Galaxy Clan series, Boomtown's Splash Clan series, and also Forest Creature's Tempest Clan series. So I'll leave a link to their profiles and the videos in the description. They're all incredible artists, and you should definitely check them out. Also, this video will mostly be structured after Nyoko's videos, as that's the format I prefer and it's the one I've watched most of. One more thing, my art style does change slightly throughout this video because it took about 3 weeks to draw the cats. Now, before we actually get into drawing them, I want to explain the lore behind my clan, Ember Clan. So there were once 3 clans that lived in a valley surrounded by mountains, and they were Bird Clan, Fawn Clan, and Grass Clan. The 3 lived in peace for many moons, until Two Legs came and started expanding the Two Leg place at the mouth of the valley. The forests were thrown into chaos as the Two Legs started cutting down the trees and building houses closer and closer to their territory. Everything came to a head one night when the Two Legs set fire to the forest to clear the land. The cats scattered, climbing the cliffs to escape. Many older and less capable cats perished in the flames, but some clan members survived and formed various groups and clans, one of which was Ember Clan, which is the group we're following. So, now you have a better idea of the backstory and EmberClan's founding, let's jump right into StarClan. First off, we had the StarClan guide, Morning Read. She's a black rosetted tabby she-cat with green eyes. Since she's the StarClan guide, there's not really much to say about her, other than she died in the forest fire and was the medicine cat of Bird Clan in the Valley clans. Next we have Blue Speck, a long-furred, unusually dappled black and white she-cat with blue eyes. She was the mother of Brushpaw, who you'll meet later, and the only reason she joined was so she could stay with her. She was pretty old when she joined, but you'd never know it by the way she acted. Sadly, only a few days before her daughter was made a warrior, she passed away from green cough. I was so sad about this, as I really liked her and would have loved to see her become a grandma one day. Then there's Spore Kit, a white and ginger tabby tom with sage-coloured eyes. He was one of 5 kits found by a dead queen in the depths of Leaf Bear's snows, and adopted by the Ember Clan medicine cat, who you'll meet later. He was a rambunctious kitten, always finding ways to cause mischief around the camp. This became his downfall, however, because when he and his brother Mountain Kit snuck out of camp to the stream one New Leaf, he was swept away by the current, and was later found dead on the lower bank. He was only 4 moons old at the time. This death honestly broke my heart, because kitten deaths are always so sad. and I wanted to see him grow up with his siblings and become a full warrior. Finally, we have Rapid Crawl, a long-furred, dark brown speckled tom with cyan eyes. He was a playful warrior of EmberClan, well liked and trusted by pretty much everyone in the clan. He was quickly given an apprentice to mentor, Creampaw, and was a great mentor to him and forged a strong bond. However, he was murdered close to the end of this year, and I'll elaborate more on that story later when we get to other cats. But yeah, there's not much more to say about him other than he was a good and loyal warrior, and the clan will miss him a lot. Also, the first thing he did when he got to StarClan was to comfort Sporkit, which I think is the most adorable thing. Like, he's just a sweetheart, and I'm so sad he died. Now let's visit ghost residents. These cats didn't have much in terms of backstory because I never actually knew them while they were alive. So most of it is stuff I added to their stories or just guessed based on the context that was happening in the clan around the time. Starting off with Fern Talon, who was actually Sporkit's mum and the dead queen that the kids were found by in Leaf Bear. She's a light grey Bengal tabby she-cat with emerald eyes. She's also a former warrior and queen of Grass Clan, who was separated from everyone in the forest fire and made it to safety, but she died while kitting in the depths of Leaf Bear without a medicine cat to help, and so now she lives in the ghost residence. I really hope that one day she finds her way to StarClan so she can meet her son and maybe any of her other family members that that may go to StarClan before she gets there. Then there's Flight, a cream-speckled tabby tom with gold eyes. He was a kitty pet and found his way up the mountain to EmberClan's camp with his two newborn kits, Running Kit and Adder Kit. He managed to make it before he died of exhaustion, and the two kits were adopted by the clan deputy and later by her mate. And finally, the last cat to die this year was Fuzz, a black tabby she-cat with pale blue eyes. She was found dead by the side of a dirt underpass halfway up the mountain, with her one newborn kitten just barely alive in a cardboard box abandoned by the roadside. This kitten was taken into Ember Clan and adopted by the clan leader and her mate. But wait, we're not done with cats outside Ember Clan just yet. There's one more cat I have to talk about, and that is One Skip, a 45-moon-old pale grey and white tom with copper eyes. And I'm just going to tell you now, he murdered Rapid Crawl and got exiled for it. One Skip was once a kitty pet who got left at the side of the road by his two legs. Two warriors found him and escorted him back to camp where he joined the clan. He quickly became interested in Whisperstar, the clan leader, but he only wanted to be her mate to get the power that he thought came with that position. After Rapid Crawl saw this, and saw that Whisperstar was getting very unnerved by the Tom, he challenged One Skip to a fight for Whisperstar's honour. One Skip agreed, but during the fight he went too far, killing Rapid Crawl in front of the entire clan. He was then exiled, but he still has some influence in the clan, and you'll meet them later. And now, finally, it's time to get into the cats of Ember Clan. Normally, I would start with the leader, but you'll see why I haven't later on. This is the deputy/acting leader, Brookfleck, a 103-moon-old spotted, dilute brown she-cat with lavender eyes, with her mate Rushstalk, a 109-moon-old ginger and white cat with yellow eyes. Fun thing, Brookfleck is trans and bisexual, and Rushstalk is non-binary and omnisexual, so I gave them cute little pride bracelets because I think that's definitely something they would do. And they're honestly the sweetest couple. I love them so much. Brookfleck has mentored two apprentices, Brushpaw, and is currently mentoring Mountainpaw. She's a well-liked deputy, and apart from her mate, she is closest in the clan with her adoptive kits, Runningpaw and Adderpaw, and another warrior named Thunderfur. Rushstalk is incredibly protective of their family, and has taken well to being a parent. On the patrol where Brookfleck confessed her love to Rushstalk, they got snowed in and had to huddle for warmth in a snow den, which I thought was the most adorable thing. But yeah, I love these two proud cats, I think they're amazing, and I really hope Brookfleck gets to be leader one day. Next is the medicine cat, Burnt Lake, and her apprentice and adoptive son, Heronpaw, and, oh boy, there is drama here. Burnt Lake is a 124-moon-old black she-cat with silver eyes, and Heronpaw is an 8-moon-old brown tabby tom with green eyes, and also one of Sporkit's brothers. Burnt Lake loves her kits more than anything, and after Sporkit's death and something else that happened that I'll get into later, she's determined to keep them safe from harm. When she discovered that Heron Paw had a lung condition, she asked the leader to make him her apprentice so she could keep him safe. This was sprung on Heron Paw at his apprentice ceremony without asking him, and he was understandably furious. He just wanted to be treated like any other cat and not babied by his mother or looked down on for having a condition. This caused him to become a more vengeful cat. She was adamant, though, and Heron Paw pretended to agree. But when she went off on patrols on her own, he would always ask one of the other warriors to spar and sneak out on training patrols with his siblings. Heron Paw is not happy with his life at the moment, and he wants nothing more than to just be a warrior of Ember Clan. However, he's currently sick with white cough as a result of his condition, and in the clan he's closest to his brother, Mountain Paw. Now onto the warriors. Locust Freeze is a 98-moon-old dorsal-striped light brown tom with green-yellow eyes. There's really not much to say about him other than he used to be a loner by the name of Locust. Brookfleck and Rushstalk found him injured in the territory and invited him in. He accepted, grateful at the prospect of food and medical care. He keeps to himself a lot, not making many friends in the clan other than maybe Rushstalk? At least good acquaintances with them. He's pretty shy and doesn't talk to cats a lot, but the cats who do know him have nothing bad to say about him. Making a massive leap in age now. This is Brush Moss, a 20-moon-old, unusually dappled silver and white she-cat. She is Blue Speck's daughter, and the reason why the old she-cat joined the clan in the first place. As an apprentice, she was pretty hot-headed and opinionated, but she's calmed down a lot since being a warrior. She was mentored by Brookfleck, and the moon she was made a warrior, her mother passed away from green cough. She later got an apprentice of her own, Rabbit Paw, who she's still currently mentoring. She's closest to Rhymeshade and Rushstalk, and also has a tiny crush on Cream Knight, a warrior who you'll meet in just a few minutes. Moving on to Falling Patch, a 17-moon-old white tom with silver eyes. Again, there's really not much to say about him. He was formerly a kitty pet by the name of Eddie, and was found by Cream Knight in a barn close to the end of the year. He accepted the offer to join the clan and took the name Falling Patch. In the last moon of this year, he gained an apprentice, Adderpaw. Interestingly, he also has a crush on Cream Knight, so I don't know what it is about him, but he's pulling everyone. Speaking of Cream Knight, here he is. He's a 16-moon-old dorsal-striped cream tom with yellow eyes. He was taken in as Cream Kit, and was a bit of a killjoy as a kitten and apprentice. In hopes of teaching him how to have fun, Whisperstar apprenticed him to Rapid Crawl, the friendliest and most playful cat in the clan. They originally didn't get on very well, but towards the end of his apprenticeship, Creampaw forged a strong bond with his mentor. He became a warrior, Cream Knight, and just like Whisperstar thought, Rapid Crawl helped him be more fun, but he still acts like a know-it-all at times, a bit like Berrynose in the books. He was one of the cats who were impacted most by Rapid Crawl's death, and still hasn't fully recovered. He's currently closest to Burnt Lake and Brushmoss. Moving on to one of my favourite cats in the clan, Rhymeshade. I absolutely love her design and her personality too. She's a 15-month-old brown smoke she-cat with cyan eyes, and was actually not part of the original 3 clans, but joined Ember Clan as a kit when her kitty pet mother Melody was taken from her. She was apprenticed to Whisperstar, the clan leader, which gave her bragging rights over the others in the nursery. As an apprentice, she was always very daring and impulsive, and once accidentally caused tension with Dew Clan by accusing the deputy of trespassing, when really he just wanted to pass a message to Whisperstar in the camp. Also, for a brief period of time during her apprenticeship and early warriorhood, she was frustrated that her mentor didn't seem to be teaching her anything, so she started to train with the Dark Forest, but only spent 4 moons there before she realised that what she was doing was wrong, and she managed to escape. She got her warrior name of Rhymeshade, and recently she's been spotted by the border with a Dew Clan cat, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Now that we've done all the warriors, let's move on to the apprentices. I'll be talking about them in 2 groups, because it's easy to see their relationships that way. The first group is Heronpaw and Sporekit's siblings and Burnt Lake's adopted kits, Rabbitpaw, Mountainpaw and Wrenpaw, who are all 8 moons old. Rabbitpaw, a pale tabby and white tom with bronze eyes, is the oldest of their litter, and he feels like he has to protect all of his younger siblings. After what happened with Sporekit, he looks out for his litter mates, especially little Wrenpaw. His mentor is Brushmoss, and he is closest to his brother Mountainpaw, who he loves more than anyone. Mountainpaw is a dorsal striped ginger tom with eyes like sunlit ice, and oh boy, he just can't catch a break. Remember earlier when I mentioned there's another reason Burnt Lake is overprotective? Well, when he was only 2 moons old, Mountain Kit developed yellow cough, a deadly illness, from being outside in the snow for too long. The moon after he miraculously recovered from the disease, he snuck out of camp with Sporekit, which resulted in him getting frostbite and Sporekit's death. Then, at his apprentice ceremony, a hawk came swooping down and nearly carried him off. Somehow he survived that with only a broken bone and is currently in the medicine den, but I don't know how much longer our guy can go cheating death like this. He's making me nervous. Luckily, his brother Rabbitpaw always brings him prey and comes to sit and talk with him every afternoon. Wrenpaw is a brown tabby she-cat with grey eyes, and she is a handful, to put it lightly. She's the runt of the litter and the only she-cat, so from an early age she felt like she had to hold her own. She developed a reputation for being fierce and feisty among the warriors in the clan. She often rejects the help of her brothers and was apprenticed to Whisperstar, going into charismatic apprentice but still retaining the edge from when she was a kid. In fact, on their very first patrol, she argued with Whisperstar over which battle moves that they were learning, because she thought she wasn't learning the right ones. She also takes it upon herself to mentor, in air quotes, the kits, teaching them the hunting crouch and battle moves. The next group of apprentices is Adderpaw and Runningpaw, Flight's two kits, and Brookfleck and Rushstalk's adoptive kits. They're both 6 moon old and have just been apprenticed. Adderpaw is a white and grey she-cat with copper-coloured eyes, but you can't see the grey in this photo because Runningpaw is covering it with his body. She's definitely the older kit and was kind of bossy as a kitten, often speaking for her brother, but she does love Runningpaw more than anything else in the entire world. They were both brought to the clan by their dying father when they were newborns and adopted by Brookfleck. Adderpaw was later apprenticed to Falling Patch. Runningpaw, an unusually dappled black tom with copper-coloured eyes, is more softly spoken and pretty much allows Adderpaw to do the talking for him. He did comfort her after Sporkit's death, which hit her hardest because she was so young, and also has the closest bond he can have with her. However, at their apprentice ceremony, Adderpaw swore to Star Clan that she would be a great warrior, while Runningpaw swore to his father in the Ghost Realm, so we'll have to see if they could grow apart in the future. Finally, let's go to the nursery. Again, I'll mainly be talking about them in familial groups. First, there's Whisperstar and Thunderfur, along with their kit, Ashkit. Whisperstar is a 61 moon old dorsal striped pale grey she-cat with hazel eyes. She still has all of her 9 lives and is the first leader of Ember Clan. She's very well liked and respected in the clan, and most cats think she makes a good leader. Towards the middle of the year, former loner One-Skip started trying to get closer to her, which prompted Rapid Crawl to initiate the duel that led to his death. She feels terrible for this, thinking that it was her fault that he died. She later fell in love with Thunderfur after going on a moonlit stroll with her, coming out as pansexual when she proposed. They later adopted Ashkit when she was found by the Thunderpath. Thunderfur is a 38 moon old unusually spotted golden she-cat with hazel eyes. Formerly a kitty pet named Neil, she gladly accepted the invitation to join the clan to get in from the cold Leaf Bear. She caught the affections of Whisperstar and was glad when the leader finally proposed. She introduced Whisperstar to some of her friends from the Two-Leg Place, including Elmbranch, who you'll meet in just a minute. She was also the one who found Ashkit and suggested adopting her. Ashkit is a newborn grey tabby she-cat. She was found in a cardboard box by the edge of the Thunderpath alongside her biological mother Fuzz, who was already dead when they found her. Other than that, there's not much I can say as she was found on the last moon of this year and is still a little patat. The next group is Eldertooth, a 13 moon old grey and white she-cat with blue eyes, and her adoptive kits, Posy Kit, Salt Kit, Frog Kit, and Vixen Kit, who are all 2 moons old. And no, these aren't her biological kits. Remember how I mentioned One-Skip still had influence in the clan? Well, one day he came into camp carrying these 4 newborns, with no explanation of where they came from or who they were. That same moon, he was exiled for killing Rapid Crawl in their fight. Eldertooth stepped up and offered to adopt the kits, raising them as her own and hiding their past from them. Before this, Elderpaw was a cold and selfish apprentice, and despite being apprenticed to the compassionate Rushstalk, she didn't change her ways. Everyone thought that raising kits may help her to find some compassion for her clanmates, and so they agreed. As for the kits, they're only 2 moons old, so there's really not much I can say about them. I imagine they get strange looks from cats in the clan because most of them look pretty similar to One-Skip. And also, side note, Frog Kit is quite literally pink. But I'm excited to see where their stories go and if they ever find out the truth about their father and their past. And finally, we have Elm Branch, a 17-year-old pale, dilute calico she-cat with golden eyes. Formerly known as Ellie, she was a kitty pet that Thunderfur and Whisperstar would regularly visit her house for an easy meal and to chat. But after they found her injured and abandoned by the Thunderpath, they invited her back to the clan and named her Elm Branch. A moon after she arrived, she announced that she was pregnant and moved into the nursery, so she is currently expecting kits, though she doesn't know who the father is. Everyone assumes that it's just some cat from the two-leg place. Two things about her. I'm 99% sure that her and Falling Patch are siblings, considering how, one, they're the exact same age, and their kitty pet names, Eddie and Ellie, were extremely similar. And second thing, look at how pretty she is. Like, look at her I love her design. I think she has my favourite design in the entire clan. So, we've made it to the end. Thanks for watching this far. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking and subscribe so you don't miss year 2. Also, leave a comment telling me which cat is your favourite and also things I can do to improve. I'm always looking to improve the way I make videos, the way I comment on them. So anything you can think of, please just leave it in the comment section. Bye guys, may StarClan light your path.